Hi, my name is Apostate Ashley, and I'm a former Pentecostal pastor, as well as the communications director for the Clergy Project. You can find my deconversion story, as well as the video of what the Clergy Project is, right up here in this corner.
I gotta lay down, think I've done enough for today. Did what I had to do and this is enough for me. Never meant to be a winner, never meant to be a quitter, but this is how I lose satisfaction. Ship thrill, ship drip.
Today I will be talking about something that is on my heart. I have talked about my time in the ministry and why I left in summary, and I would like to talk about my life after I've left. I was in the ministry for 9 years, and I've been an open atheist for 9 years as well. It's a little surreal that I have spent the same amount of time outside of the ministry as much as I did in it. So the purpose of this video is to vulnerably expose some of the mistakes that I made along the way so that others may think twice before doing the same things that I had. I would like to preface by noting the differences in lifestyle and mindset of the religious life and the secular life. Within the religious setting, it is ingrained in most of us that a romantic relationship with another person is between only a man and a woman, with the intent of having children to raise with the same ideals as our own. It is ingrained in most of us that the women are to be submissive to their husbands while he's the head of the household. Even beyond religion, we see in fairy tales and Disney movies that women are damsels in distress, waiting for her Prince Charming to come and rescue her so that they can live happily ever after. These are stories and movies that are exposed to us at a very young age, creating a false hope of how our lives will turn out when we become grown-ups. Unfortunately, I believe this to be true to some extent, and I could live this happily ever after life myself if I met the right person. On top of that, I believed that if I followed Jesus with my whole heart and followed my calling, that he would take care of me for the rest of my life. It's embarrassing to admit this, that I was that gullible and hopeful over things that just aren't how reality actually is. So why do we ingrain these things into our young children? Isn't it just setting them up for false hopes and possible failures? These aren't things that were necessarily taught to me by my parents, but more so the church and society. So what are these mistakes that I made that I want to share with you in hopes to help some young or vulnerable person? Well, not just once, but twice did I put myself in a position where I was reliant on another person or persons financially, emotionally, and even physically. If you watch my deconversion story, you know that my first marriage ended when I came out as an atheist. I'd been a stay-at-home mom, which I loved, but I was financially reliant on my ex-husband, but even more so the church. I got remarried in 2017 to my second husband, who I had known since second grade in elementary school. I became a stay-at-home mom again due to being laid off from my job where I was doing invoicing at a medical device company because the company was shutting down. I had actually lucked out getting that job with making somewhat decent money in spite of my speckled and weird resume. When I was being laid off, I was in the middle of a multiple sclerosis relapse that kind of rocked my world. I didn't have insurance anymore after that day, and I literally had a steroid IV in my arm while they were letting me go from my position. In desperation, as well as thinking it was just inevitable that we would get married, we decided to get married at the courthouse a month later so that I could be on his insurance. There were a lot of good times, and I'm very appreciative of being able to spend the time with my daughter and focus on my health while he worked. Eventually, though, things in our marriage were really toxic, and I had to get out of that situation too, for my sake, but especially for my daughter's. I was now stuck in another situation where it was really hard for me to leave because I didn't have my own money and the ability to easily walk away from a toxic situation. Needless to say, I'm back at the same place I was when I left my first husband, but now with my second husband. I'm at the beginning process of my second divorce and restarting my life all over again. This one's not going to be as messy as the first one because it doesn't involve the church or custody over my daughter. However, I'm now 37 years old and I have no means for my own financial stability. If I could talk to my 16 or 17-year-old self, I would tell her, go to a secular college. Don't go into the ministry. Don't rely on a man or the church, but find your own financial stability. Don't put yourself in a situation where that will keep you trapped. My mindset has changed a lot about relationships and marriage. I don't necessarily agree with the monogamous marriages like I once had, where marriage is between only a man and a woman until the day they die. I read something a while ago, so Google it yourself. Don't take my word for it necessarily. But I read that the honeymoon phase lasts only about 6 years on average. So to me, it's unrealistic to expect people to stay in a relationship no matter the circumstances. I completely agree with learning to work through conflict with others and to not run away at the first sign of differences. But in a lot of cases, people will stay in a relationship or a marriage that isn't necessarily the healthiest of situations due to these grand vows. The truth is that staying in only one relationship or marriage for your entire life works for just a small group of people, where both parties are generally happy for the majority of their relationship. If you're watching this and can identify with this to any extent, I encourage you to find your individuality and find a way to have your own financial stability so that you can leave if the situation gets toxic or harmful in any way. I'm going to do things differently this time around and find myself all by myself. So within the Clergy Project, there is a career training for ex-clergy who have very little work experience in the secular workplace due to the fact that we devoted our time in the ministry for the majority of our adult lives. I started this week and I'm really excited to see where it will take me. I will keep you posted on what the outcome is for utilizing this help from the Clergy Project to officially find my way back after my previous life. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, please like, subscribe if you haven't, and comment your thoughts below. Until next time.
Satisfaction, cheap thrills, cheap tricks. It seems like the way I live. Who said I should be a big shot? Who said I should take it tick tock?